Fresh from Fresh and Felicia, today we're going to talk about and unbox and assemble one of the most popular electric bicycles on the market, the 52-volt Magicycle. And check out the story behind this. It's really interesting.
So back in the day, there was this guy named Wade, and he used to ride bicycles with his father when he was a kid, like a lot of us did. And he was always interested in motorcycles and bicycles, and he became an engineer and started to work with electric motors in cars and motorcycles. So he goes through college, has this pretty successful career, and he goes back to visit his dad several years later. And, you know, we all get a little bit older. Dad can't ride like he used to. He's like, son, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. And Wade said, I think I can solve this problem. I have an engineering degree in electrical motors. Let me figure out how to combine the power and motors on motorcycles and put it into a bicycle. That's how Magicycle was born.
Years later, Wade and the team are still doing the good work, helping people with mobility issues get around via these awesome electric bikes. And the rest of us who are lucky enough not to have mobility issues to just have a lot of fun riding these things virtually wherever you want. You can take them off-road, you can take them on the beach, you can take them on, just use them as a cruising bike on the street. They're awesome, they're so much fun, and I think you're going to love this bike as much as I do. So let's get into it. Let's take it out of the box and put it together. Watch how easy this is. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get the boxes out of the box. There's a couple of boxes in here you're going to need to get things started, and I'll tell you why in a second. No spoilers, right? Pretty easy to open this guy. It's packaged really, really well in this ginormous box. If you're going to carry it up steps or anything, you're probably going to need two people. This thing's pretty heavy. So open up the top, and you're going to look inside. Somewhere near the top, you're going to see two boxes. You're going to see one box is the battery, and probably next to it or underneath it or somewhere packaged in this amazing assortment of stuff, you're going to find the accessories box. So you're going to pull and unbox the battery and then take out the accessories. But look at all the stuff you get with this stuff. You get a lot of free gifts. So they send you a hat. You know, if somebody sends you a hat, you wear it. And it's actually a really nice hat, too. So I've been wearing that for a couple of days now. And a phone holder along with some place to put your keys or your wallet. Also, some white gloves. I guess that's for the white glove service. And they give you the pedals, of course, and they give you a combination lock. Look at this. And not a cheesy one either. One that's going to take a little bit of effort to cut through. And also they give you the headlight and all the tools you're going to need to, all the tools you'll ever need to do any type of repair on this bicycle. It's a real nice kit. And this is the box we're looking for. So basically, before you put anything together, you want to charge that battery, a full charge. It is a quick charger, but it is a 52-volt battery, so it's got some more juice in it. But they did provide you with this really nifty quick charger. It's going to take, for a new charge, there's a little bit of charge from the factory, but it's probably going to take a good 3-4 hours to get that first charge in there. It could take a little longer, depending how long it's been sitting around. You see this thing's got a fan on it, and the light will turn red to let you know that it's charging. Don't put it on a rug or anything. Make sure it has plenty of ventilation so it can stay cool while it does its job. Now, my first couple of e-bikes, I was kind of silly, and I deadlifted this thing out of here, and it's heavy. I don't do it. Why do that? And then I learned, let me just tip the box over. You know, let's use gravity and physics and do it the easy way. So you don't need two really strong muscular bros. You could just yank it out, slide it out. The styrofoam will move very easily. And take it apart, and you're going to need to cut these millions of little tabs off. So that's your job for now. Next up, they recommend you install the handlebars first. So you're going to find these. These will be clipped to something else, so cut those wire ties off. Be careful when you're cutting off the wire ties. Make sure you don't cut any of the cables. Otherwise, you're going to end up in trouble. And you also don't want to scratch the bike. So just be really careful. Take your time and cut those out. We'll put the tire aside. We don't need that right now. It's got this really nifty thing on the bottom. It's actually, it protects the front fork from bending, but it also helps it stand. And also you put the kickstand down halfway too. Again, all the tools you need already packaged in the box, in the accessory box. You've got the Allen wrenches, you've got your regular wrenches, and you've got a screwdriver too. I'm not sure what the screwdriver's for, but it's there if you need it. So the first thing you're going to do is take off the handlebar mount. And there's 4 Allen bolts here, so you just remove those. Take your time, take them off. You're going to need to fully remove them. There's no way to really twist it and get it in there because the thing's pretty chunky. So once you get that off, you just kind of line it up there. Make sure it's the right way. You can tell because all the printing will be facing you if you're sitting on the seat. So I've seen people put these on backwards, so don't do that. And you'll want to kind of adjust it and find the middle spot in there too. You just get it finger tight, just enough so you have enough room to start working, and then you'll find the center point of the handlebars, and you'll be ready to rock and roll and just tighten it up. And of course, you're going to tighten up all your bolts when you're done too. Okay, before you put the front tire on, it's a little easier if you do it this way. So there's one bolt that holds the headlight, the headlamp, and the front fender on. And it's already in the fork. So you just take that bad boy off and you see how it holds it in. The light obviously is going to go in front of the fork, and the tab that holds the fender to the bike is going to go behind it. And there's a bolt and a nut there. Just take it out. Make sure you don't lose it. And pop that light on the front. It's easier if you have two people to do this, but you could do it one-handed. And just kind of put that bolt right through the little area on the bottom of the headlight, and it'll just cruise right through the back and grab that tab that's holding the fender up. And just put the little nut on the back there too, and just get it finger tight so you have some room to play with it. It takes a little finesse to do this, I'm not going to lie. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's probably the hardest part of the installation. And that's a good thing. So most of this bike comes pre-installed. You don't have to mess with the brake calipers. You don't have to adjust the gears. I mean, it's ready to rock and roll, and that back tight is locked down super tight, so that's great. And then on the sides, you're going to have a couple of bars that are going to hold that fender in place. And there's a couple of nuts and bolts for that too, and they're not too difficult to put on. Just tighten that guy up real good, and then we'll work on the sides here. So you can kind of adjust your headlight and then tighten it up when you've got it exactly where you want it to go. There is a little cord that goes in. You'll see the other end, it's the same color. Just plug those two guys in so the headlight can talk to the battery, get some power. So you can take these guys off and just pop them on there, and this is what it's going to look like when it's done. Tighten everything up when you're done, and your front fenders are installed. Easy peasy. Now we're going to get to that front wheel and make it start to look like a bike. It's got a little protector on the side, and of course you have your fork protector here, and that's going to need to come off. And inside the box is this really cool thing that prevents it from tipping over. So this is kind of helpful because you're going to have to take that fork protector off, and it's going to be hard for the bike to stand up. So this has your quick release skewer, it's called. So you're going to need this. Don't throw this away. So you can unscrew this and remove this carefully from the front fork protecting chassis. This thing's plastic. The skewer is metal, but this assembly is plastic on the bottom. So just unscrew that, loosen it up, and then you can pull the fork up off of it and just lay it down on the floor. Something soft is usually good. Carpet's all right. It's not going to mess anything up here. And you've got that box holding it up in the back. So you're going to take the other end of this off. Notice how the springs, there's two springs. You don't want to lose those because that's part of your quick release skewer assembly. And you see that the narrow end is going to go towards the inside. So just remember that if you get mixed up. See how the narrow end is pointing inside towards the wheel itself. This is it. You just need this metal part. You can discard the rest of it, but it's kind of a neat assembly. I'm actually going to hold on to it and figure something out to do with this guy. And this is your skewer. So this does not screw off, but it can be there tight. Just kind of wiggle it off. Sometimes if you screw it, it helps it come off. And you've got a couple of protective little rubber grommets or whatever these things are, washers, hanging out on your wheel. You're going to need to remove those. This one's on really tight on the other side, so you really need to use a little elbow grease. I had to use the screwdriver to pry that off. And then take that piece off, and you're going to see exactly where that fork's going to sit. Now you're going to let gravity do its job. And you're going to, this is a little tricky because you need to make sure that that disc fits right between the disc brake calipers. And you'll see a tiny little slot in there. You don't need to adjust it or do anything. You just lay it upright. Just use your legs to position the wheel. It's a little awkward, right? If you have a friend to do this, it's a lot easier to do that. Somebody can hold it, one of the ends down. Just let gravity slide right in there. It's not difficult to line up. And then it'll plop right down there on the bolts. And then you can just let it sit for a second as you reposition yourself, and you're going to install your quick release skewer. And on the disc brake side, you're going to insert it from that side. And that's where the quick release stem or handle is going to live. And remember, the spring narrow end goes towards the inside. You just screw that in and get that in there pretty tight because you don't want your front wheel to fall off, especially if you're doing some off-roading. And you'll know. If you screw it too tight, you won't be able to close the quick release. Just back off on the nut a little bit, and then just make sure it's got some really good tension in there. It might take a time or two to get it exactly right, but you'll know. It'll feel right because it'll be really, really tight on there too. And just, yeah, you're going to need some elbow grease to put it in there and get that secured. So that looks real good. Let's just pick it up, make sure she spins. She's not rubbing the calipers, and it's perfect. It looks great. That's it. Your front wheel's on. Now it's time to pump up your tires. They probably lost a little bit of air in transportation. They recommend anywhere from 5 to 30, which is quite a range, but most of these 4-inch mountain bike tires are about 20-ish. You don't want to go too low because that's going to reduce your range. If you go too high, it's going to be a really bumpy ride. So for most average riding, you can adjust this as necessary. About 20 psi is about where you want to be. All right, before you can put the pedals to the metal, you got to have pedals. Pretty easy to install, labeled left and right, brand new. They got reflectors on them, a little bit of grip on there for your shoes, and you can see they go on different ways. So the left one is going to twist towards the front, and the right one's going to be the other way. And once you get them in there, it takes a few seconds. They're already greased, so that's great. It'll take a few seconds to get it in there. And they do give you the wrench, the right size wrench, and tighten it up. And they do have the torque values in the manual if you do have a torque wrench. But if you don't, that's okay too. Just make sure they're pretty tight and they're not going anywhere. Magicycle gives you a pretty nice seat. It's actually a pretty decent seat. A lot of people change them out, but it's no big deal. So you want to adjust, use the quick release to adjust the height. And you want to get it to where the balls of your feet are kind of sitting on the ground. You don't want it too low, and you'll scrape your feet and you're not going to be able to pedal effectively if you decide you want to pedal. And also this has a nice adjustment too, where you can adjust the seat up or down. There's a couple different levels here. You just need an Allen key, and it does come with the kit, and you can adjust it wherever you want for the angle of the seat. Some people like it high, some people like it low, whatever's comfortable for you. Now, by the time you've got this all together, hopefully your battery is now charged. And it'll show a green light when she's done charging and ready to go, fully charged. It only goes on one way. You'll see there's a little hole in here, a little notch. So you want to put it in the bottom first, and you'll see there's like little things that'll click in the bottom. And that's where all the connections are. So you put that in first, and then slide it in sideways, and you'll hear it click in. It'll be an audible click. And that's it. You close your little tab and you are ready to rock and roll. Go ahead and power it up. Now the power button is on the back of this controller here. It's a little sneaky. A lot of people can't find it right away. I'll just show it. It's right on the back. Just hold it for a second or so and she's going to light up. And if it does light up, you know you've done everything right. All the cabling's already done and your bike is ready to rock and roll. Now here's your full color screen. It's really nice to give you a full color screen with a lot of information. If you press the I button, you can cycle through some of the functions. You go to the trip meter, the odometer, your average MPH, your average speed, the time you're riding, your trip meter again, and you can cycle through these things. There's also some settings you can adjust. They don't recommend doing that, but you can do that if you want to. Your pedal assist or your plus and minus keys, you can go all the way from 0 to 7 on the Magicycle. 7's going to give you the most assistance, 1's obviously going to give you the least, and you can even go down to pedal assist 0 if you're walking around with the bike and you don't want to accidentally hit the throttle. Nothing will happen. It shows you the battery level up here and the time you're riding or the time that it's on. And also there's a watt meter. It tells you how much wattage you're using. So if you're really opening the throttle up from a dead stop, you'll see you're going to use a lot more wattage. And this is pretty nifty too. Underneath the controller, there's a USB charger. So if you need to charge your phone while you're on your bike or some other device, you can do that using this ginormous 52-volt battery. It's pretty cool. You've got a bike. It's ready to go. You're ready to take it out on a test ride. See how it wasn't difficult at all? Pretty simple to put together. Most of it's already done for you. I took it out on a beach ride. We'll show you some of this on a different video. We'll go through some of the features of the bike. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions too. Either us or somebody at Magicycle will probably reach out to you and answer those questions the best we can. Magicycle. There's a little bit of magic in here, people. It's an awesome bike. You're going to love this thing.